How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another couch chat for the UCI Rocket Project Liquids team. Today, I am interviewing a beautiful specimen right here, Mr. Vivaan. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Connor?
Doing great today. It's a fantastic day to be shooting. I have nice, even lighting conditions. A lot of interviews going on today, but we're here to hear your story, and we'd love to hear you spell it out for us.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
we'll go ahead and get started. I'll ask you kind of to give me a scope of what you're doing here at UCI. And this is like your last day. It's like week 10. What's on the plate? And then we'll break into how you got there. But yeah, I'm super interested to hear.
Yeah, so, I'm an aerospace engineering student at UCI. I've been on the rocket project for like 2.5 years at this point.
Yeah.
Over there, I've been working as I started off as recovery, helped with recovery, worked with Angel, worked with a lot of great people, and then started with aerostructure. Now I make the bottom section for the rocket and hoping to help manufacture and assemble that this coming summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you get here? I mean, for you, I think it's been kind of a somewhat linear path, and that's been the case. But it started off very young for you. Like you knew you wanted to do something aerospace related as a kid, right?
Yeah, so basically when I was a little kid, if you ask my parents, like they'd tell you I love the movie Top Gun. But then basically, yeah, ever since then when I was little, I had like a whole airport in my room.
Damn.
Played off as like I guess cosplay of the air traffic controller, I don't know.
Yep.
It was fun. But then, elementary school passed, middle school, high school passed. And then so came my decision, go to college, tried to go for aerospace engineering.
Yeah.
Got into UCI and also got into UC Davis. Great time, and then I didn't want to go all the way that far to Davis, so UCI's right here. Perfect.
Got unlucky. I ended up at UCI.
Yeah, unlucky.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It was it's a good thing. It was a great school. Honestly, met so many good people here. Around my classes at Rocket Project. It's a good place to be in general.
Okay, so meeting people. You were telling me of how meeting one of your friends got you to be on this project.
Yep.
And in the least nepotic way possible. Tell me how you were talking about how being and putting yourself out there led you to your career at one point, and I want to connect those two pieces.
Okay. Yeah.
So tell me how you met Ryan and how that led to you being on the project and finding your home kind of here.
Okay. Yeah. So finding Ryan is actually a pretty funny story. Basically, what happened was in ME10. It's one of our classes. My first day of school, first actual day of classes back in freshman year 4 years ago. I was living in the towers in Millard, and then I went to the common area to take my class, right? I'm taking my class, we go into like Zoom breakout rooms and everything. So we're doing icebreakers, I'm answering these questions, and I noticed there's this guy across the room answering the same exact questions at the same time. And I'm like, okay, what is this guy in my class? I'm like, you know what, maybe let's go ask him. So I went up to him, I asked him, hey, are you also in ME10 with Buswell? He's like, yeah, and then, just started from there. That was a good start for friendship, and then later, a year or two after, he joined Rocket Project before me.
Yeah.
But he hit me up. He told me, we have this position open in Rocket Project. Do you want to interview for it? I did. It went good. Went through all the interviews, and then here I am now. And then, yeah, funny thing is you mentioned like after, kind of the job I'm gonna go after is relativity space. It's basically I got it because of Rocket Project, because I'm doing the same exact thing I did for Rocket for them.
Yeah. And as far as what you did with Rocket, I mean, this project goes through a number of different design cycles, I think, and you came in at a time where Peter was kind of wrapping up UCI's first liquid rocket, and you shadowed them, and you learned what you had and transferred your knowledge into building Mocha, which is UCI's second liquid rocket.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit more of what it was like to learn from those people and eventually get the opportunity to design your own components?
It was honestly very interesting. So, one of the things I learned was how difficult it actually is to actually design and have that translate into manufacturing. Because what I saw a lot of times was, especially when they were assembling the skins for that top section, it was there's so many issues that came up.
Yeah.
And you gotta deal with them in the moment and everything. So for me back then, it was more of whoa, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what any of this is. I'm just here to look. But what it kind of made me realize is, especially now that we're going to be going into more of assembly ourselves anyways, that design doesn't always correctly transition into manufacturing the way you think in your head. And that's kind of what I've also noticed with manufacturing stuff for my section or other people's section.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing to learn. I feel like we're going to see that now happening with the assembly section, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting, and you'll be there for launch, hopefully. It's
I will
really cool to
definitely be
get to
there
see
for
your
launch.
own thing go off, right?
That's the dream.
Yeah. Okay. Anything that you'd want to tell a future version of yourself that is entering UCI or is in high school, really at any stage, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I feel like the biggest advice would be to honestly put yourself out there, you know, whoever you can meet in your classes, in a project, any project, you know, anywhere on campus, just put yourself out there as much as you can, because you never know when you might have a connection that's going to lead you somewhere else in life.
Yeah.
You know, I have, as I said, like, you know, personal experience with that, but what I would say is anything, you know.
Yeah. Okay, this is a really tough question for you, and I didn't really pre-screen this one with you.
Okay.
But how much do you think your network matters as an engineer versus how good you are at being an engineer?
Okay. I'll be honest. I think it's different. So if you have a really big network, right, I feel like that will definitely put you ahead in the beginning. You know, that first internship, that first job.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna give you a huge edge in that first like scenario.
Yep.
But to get to higher levels of engineering, getting to say, you know, like a lead role, like a manager role, director role, that's when you have to differentiate yourself from being a good networker to being a good engineer. You know.
Yeah.
I feel like at that point, that's when you have to be good at talking to people. Yes, so good at networking, but also you have to be a great engineer that people can trust and will look up to.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
I think that's really good advice. Yeah. Okay. Well, you have our last Bobo run today.
Yeah.
Literally last day on week 10. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. I'll be there.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Vivaan. And guys, we'll catch you in the next interview. See ya.
Peace.